WWE, TNA, AEW? Which one's better? I don't know, but what I do know is the worst wrestling show. I'm the Hawk, and for some reason I've been tasked with documenting the downfall of National Wrestling Alliance for the past year or so. Every year it seems to get worse. We had the relaunch with the Nick Aldis 10 pounds of gold era, pretty good. Then most of the talents left for AEW and WWE, and it's all been downhill ever since. And what a fall it was. Making it through a show nowadays should qualify you for a medal. In this video you're about to see the worst professional wrestling show on telly, a collection of 3 weekly shows that blows. Yeah, they had some good news recently with the Roku streaming deal, and these shows are the first ones, so maybe we'll see some vast improvement today, but I doubt it. In fact, you wouldn't even know they had changed their streaming service. The roster is completely lacking in any star power. Continuity is terrible, strange choices for pushing wrestlers, and overall the show resembles an indie with a decent production budget. Social media is virtually non-existent. It was so much better just a few years ago. I actually feel a bit sorry for them. If you go on any NWA post on Instagram, literally the only comments are just from the NWA wrestlers. It's just kind of sad and pathetic. I wonder if the wrestlers were forced to try and interact. Still, let's give it a chance. New network, maybe things will improve. Who's ready for a shit shower? It's NWA Power. The show starts out with footage of wrestling legends from the past. It's actually quite a nice touch, as half the time you wouldn't realise you were watching a company with as much history as this one, except some bold middle-aged indie dorks fighting over who is the biggest, baddest, most bold bastard. This footage is from the Crockett Cup, a traditional NWA tag tournament. Nice to see that we finally left Dothan, Alabama, and now we're in Philly. The arena actually looks packed compared to normal. The show starts out of a ring, packed full of failures and jobbers. These 20 men will have a battle royal to decide who will gain a spot in the illustrious Crockett Cup. Good to see Indiana Jones and Beastman in there. I've been watching this show for a year. It's knocked half a decade off my life, but somehow I still don't know who half these competitors are. Good to see Diet Viscera back though, I like that dude. Randomly there's a girl in this match, which isn't even mentioned. The Beastman cannonballs a bunch of guys in the corner. Then Indiana Jones is just thrown out. He's the first elimination. Why? These two were some of the best people on the show. Beastman teases a dive, but then he's told he has to leave because his partner has been eliminated. You can't even have fun in this damn company. The fans are livid. Everything is tone deaf. In this company you are punished for being better than everyone else. Wouldn't be surprised if Diet Viscera is the next man gone. The comedy team is truly appalling. With this chick in the match, she's in there hitting rock bottoms and posing, and they literally don't even mention her. Do your damn job. A minute later, she once again comes front and centre, getting smacked out by Diet Viscera. As he throws her out, they finally acknowledge that she is a woman. This company is amateur hour. Why was there a woman in the match anyway? This wasn't treated like some big spectacle like when a woman had entered a battle royal in the past. You don't bother putting her in there if you're not going to mention her again. What, did you run out of wrestlers to fill the match? We come back from an advert break and the field is now narrowed. A cheap version of Hammerstone and Cesaro starving to death are winning this match. Because this is the NWA, of course a little person has made it this late into the match. Diet Viscera and Mims, if he never went to gyms, knocks the obese guy out of the ring and thinks about diving, but instead they both get smacked in the slash zone by the little guy. He hits the Caterpillar as the comedy team brag about what a viral sensation he is. Woodstone tries to throw him out, but the obese man is there to catch his little friend. He's placed on the apron only to be kicked out of the ring. Now Diet Viscera is gone. The only guy who could have had a capable match in 2025. The Slime Balls have made it to the final 2 teams. They almost get eliminated but hold and pull the ropes down. They fight on the ring apron and the smaller Slime Ball slips out of a powerbomb and runs off his partner's back to dropkick starving Cesaro out of the ring. I do question why the Slime Balls weren't already in the tournament, seeing as they're the only team in this match who has regularly appeared on Power. It's not just that though, you have some teams eliminated in this Battle Royal who could have really improved the Crockett Cup. The Slime Balls apparently instantly have to face Doom 2.0. Why are we still persisting with this horrible tag team? I don't think they've won a match in months. They're boring. They suck. And we've already seen them have 50 chances. If any team should have to qualify through winning a Battle Royal, it's them. Rodney Mack is way too old for this attire. It looks horrible. Of course, we've got to get Damien Sandow on telly. Remember when he feuded with Bram for about half a year and we never found out why, and then he backed out of the match anyway? That was great telly, NWA. The Slime Balls are slowly becoming a success story within this company. The teams fight for about 2 minutes when the ref decides to randomly ring the bell to start the match. What, did he forget? Did they pass out? The smaller Slime Ball starts trying to have a wrestling match. He hits an enziguri which doesn't affect the Mac, who smacks him back. He's truly screwed now, getting powered and slammed around the ring. The larger slime ball can take no more, and he rushes the ring. Then, the smaller slime ball just rolls up Rodney Mack to end a 2-minute match. Surely Doom 2.0 need to leave the NWA now. They are complete jobbers and everyone is sick of seeing them. Damien Sandow knows how they feel. He argues with the ref for ages, but it's fruitless. Then Baron Tim Storm randomly wanders down the ramp. He puts Sandow in the claw. Don't you just love how the cameraman is so fat that his stomach spills into the ring? The Baron refuses to release the claw until a random man who I've never seen before called Soda Pop scrambles to the ring. He holds out a magical globe which controls the Baron. This is like The Undertaker and his urn. Father James Mitchell cuts a promo with some jobbers. He is very excited that Samhain 3 has been announced. Is that Crazy Steve? Oh no, here we go with a crazy wacky NWA segment. A bunch of the stars have turned up at NWA headquarters. This is embarrassing, it just looks like a random cafe. Kenzie Paige thinks it's nice. Everybody is walking around staring at the premises. What is going on? Are they real estate workers or wrestlers? Tennessee P, the NWA president, makes a big entrance down some stairs. He welcomes them to the newly renovated NWA office. There's pipes hanging off the wall and tiling from the 1960s. He brags about how good this building is for ages. The cliffhanger for this segment is, wait until you see my office. Who could possibly care about that? The Slime Balls have a promo in a car park. They say they are winning the Crockett Cup. The little Slime Ball has a really strong lisp, but I actually think this kind of adds to his character.
We are taking the cup home to Slimeball City. We're gonna fill it with slime.
He sounds like the biggest dork ever, but hey, at least he stands out. It's slime time. James Mitchell brings out his jobber faction. One of them looks like Pentagon Jr. His name is Gags the Gimp. Crazy Steve and Alex Misery will represent them. The opponents are Ethan Carter III, EC3, and Pretty Boy Smooth. He's bigger than a shed, and you can park a Mustang on his forehead. EC3 is really slumming it at this point in his career. The crowd chant EC3, which confuses the commentary team who aren't used to the crowd chanting for anybody. EC3 and Crazy Steve in the same match. It feels like an episode of 2016 TNA. Despite his popularity, EC3 is beaten up and dominated by Team Miserable. Then Pretty Boy Smooth tries a chokeslam thing in the ring apron, but Misery isn't having any of that. He now hits a triangle dropkick to knock EC3 off the apron. He tries a dive, but he's dunked like a basketball on the ropes. The match has turned. Pretty Boy hurls Miserable across the ring. Now Pretty Boy hits a slam and knocks on a love pinch, which doesn't work. Misery keeps outspeeding him and jumping all over him. He does get caught eventually with a Pretty Boy Smooth STO. EC3 looks useless in this match and his selling from jawbreakers is almost comical. Crazy Steve comes in, he snapmares him and gives him a neck twist. It's all Steve, he hits the cannonball in the corner. The managers start fighting and EC3 almost takes advantage there. Tags are made again, which leads to Pretty Boy bat body dropping Alex Miserable out of the ring and into the other guys. Pretty Boy nails a powerbomb for the 3. EC3 stands around like he actually did something in this match. A laughing Carson Drake says tonight he will regain the TV title, which he never lost. A Rhino hype package now to remind you that he appeared on the last video and faced off with Bram, strangely with his old TNA theme music. The World Heavyweight Champion Bram looks like he's been burnt to death in that one scene from Final Destination. He randomly talks about his past here. He says he was a dick and a drunk, but now he's sober and he's met a lovely lady. Back at the headquarters of Tennessee P, he's still bragging about how great his office is. It looks a bit like a green screen. It doesn't even look like an office. Kenzie Paige is muttering about how boring this is. Why is her dad always here? He says a young nerd called Tyler Franks is now in the NWA. He invites him to the Crockett Cup. Kenzie Paige queries why they all had to come to the office for this. She's right. The TV title is the main event. Kenny O'Crapper, whose nickname is Looks That Kill. The only thing that could kill somebody is the giant beak stuck to this guy's head. He faces the former champion Carson Drake, who traded in his belt for a shot at the world title, but he lost that match. O'Crapper dominates the early running of this match. One shut up or I'll smack you one knocks him out of the ring. The match is interrupted so that Natalia Markova can tell us how excited she is about next week's match.
I am so excited. And you know what? I'm coming.
Back at ringside, and O'Crapper beats Drake around ringside. Drake cuts him off on his way back into the ring with a vicious beating. His beating goes on forever, but nothing remotely interesting is happening. It's hard when you've got to choose between a heel and Kenny O'Crapper. Drake avoids a moonsault and stomps Crapper down the turd bowl. Nice slingshot suplex now for Drake. He tries another suplex which is reversed into O'Crapper's suplex across his knee. He's fannying about and can't take advantage as Carson Drake sneaks a couple of close pinfalls. Drake tries another slingshot suplex, but this one is countered into the Umpredia. Wow, that's the 3. O'Crapper wins the second tier belt in the NWA. This promotion is completely screwed. Imagine saying this guy with a beak the size of Birmingham is the holder of the second tier belt. He is meant to be the up and coming star. He's like 50 and he sucks. This is horrendous. We're only one show in. This is masochism, man. This is torture, and you're all complicit forcing the Hawk to watch this. Show 2 should at least be better because the ladies will be having a no limits match. They rarely let us down. We open the show with another Crockett Cup match. Daisy Kills and Talos versus Zion and a man called Frank. Who could possibly want to see this match? The big boys have a strike-off for ages, but neither man has the advantage. The comedy team dumping their nappies of happiness when Frank tries a mandible claw. They scream Mick Foley over and over again. Finally, Talos misses an attack in the corner and Frank hits a back suplex. The match quickly breaks down and everyone starts doing whatever the hell they want. Zion dives out the ring and he's supposed to get caught, but Big Talos can't quite manage that. Talos is embarrassed and takes his frustrations out on old Austin Idol. Daisy Kill hits a super kick and Talos a choke slam, and that's how this one goes down. This tournament sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. Things are about to improve though, but not quite yet. Tennessee P lectures his talents about not spitting out tobacco at NWA shows. What, is that a common occurrence? Having that problem a lot? Comically, Silage Mason starts screaming about how much of an outrage this is. He wants to spit the tobacco. He cuts a really great angry promo about how his rights are being taken away from him. Sadly, it comes across a bit like comedy though, because the segment is dumb and stupid. He says he's leaving. Mims is corpsing, and he leaves too. Mason is still screaming. He must really like chewing tobacco. Tennessee P continues lecturing 4 people about the new rules in the company. Kenzie Page starts falling asleep and her dad swears that he's going to get revenge on him. They all look really high. You'd have to be. They're all red in the face and falling asleep. The perfect analogy for watching an NWA show. Nothing's happening. We're watching nothing. How did this make TV? Carson Drake is still all smiles despite losing his title match. He is apparently refusing to wrestle today as he's taken a mental health day. Every day you need a mental health day when you're in the NWA. He swears he will talk to management about getting his title back. Somewhere else, Kylie Paige is doing a shoot for her new OF. She says she's done, but then remembers she hasn't got the most important shot quite yet. Now she's done. The cameraman did not understand the assignment. Now Marova starts posing. Paige comes back and they start screaming at each other. Kylie throws a slap and she wanders off.
I like it.
Sadly, highlight of the show so far. Pastor CeeLo and the Exodus team brag about their win on the last show. They're facing the Southern Six next. The pastor points out that there's only 3 of them. Well, I did wonder about that. Back at the Tennessee P headquarters, Kenzie Page is upset about how much money is being wasted on this building whilst the wrestlers are all being paid so poorly. The Paige family decide this isn't legit and something isn't right. She walks through the building saying how much everything cost and it should be her money. Then she randomly says that Hunter is off training her sister. But he was sat there with her in the last segment at this very building. What, were they on drugs? The continuity is so horrible on this show. Vince Russo would be having nightmares on how dumb they are. I can't take much more of this, it's so bad. Wait, now the country gentlemen are in the building, so in the NWA teleportation is real? Tennessee P's dated tag team are having a Crockett Cut match against Perk Slade and... yes, the main man on the show, Big Mike Mondo.
What about Mondo?
This guy gets larger and larger every week. I'm pretty sure his piss can burn through metal at this point. For those of you who haven't been following this series, Mike Mondo, the former Spirit Squad member, has become the main star of the NWA thanks to his roid rage gimmick. I actually think he may be the biggest roider in current professional wrestling. Who else can stand up to Mike Mondo in any company? Mondo dominates the bland jobber. Mondo and Slade start double teaming. The other jobber panics and gets dropped on top of his own guy. Slade suplexes him overhead. A jobber misses a dive off the top and the beam kicks in as Slade puts on the ankle lock. Tennessee P takes the ref and the heels keep cheating to take over. The fans chant, "We want blood." Well, I don't think I've seen blood on this show in at least a year. Who's ready to see the worst strut in wrestling history? A quick commercial break and an interview of Kylie Paige, who now has her clothes on, and she vows to humiliate Marova in front of the world tonight. Back with the match, the Slade has been isolated for a while, but he manages to hit a German suplex. Mondo screams louder than any fan in the building. It doesn't help and Slade is hit with a spinebuster. The nerd from earlier, Tyler Franks, is eating a packet of crisps at ringside. Tennessee P dumps the crisps over his head for some reason. I have no idea what's going on. I thought they liked him. One of the country jobbers misses a Vader bomb, causing P to jump onto the apron. Tyler Franks climbs out the crowd and hits him in the slash zone. The tag is finally made to Mondo. The intensity of this guy. He clotheslines and kicks the countryman around the ring. A big northern lariat gets Mondo a 2. The crowd chant for Mondo, only the second time in 2 shows they've chanted for anybody. Of course, he's almost beaten by a Russian leg sweep back elbow combination. A blind tag is made by Slade. Mondo hits a 1%er and a gut check to the other jobber. Slade locks on the ankle lock, and that's how the match ends. Right decision. Mondo is the only choice to save this company. When you are consistently the highlight of the show, you should be rewarded. Billy Corgan is probably blinded by dorks like Kenny O'Crapper though. The stuff with Tyler Franks didn't even make sense. Tennessee P attacked him first with a bag of crisps. He told him to come to the show. Markova talks about the slap from Kenzie Paige earlier. She promises to bring the violence tonight. Now we get another reminder that Rhino was on the NWA show 3 shows ago. Great continuity as usual from the NWA. These asshats would have John Cena on a show and then disappear for a month. I've noticed they must have really struggled for content on this show because they replay loads of the interviews from the last episode. Finally, the main event is a No Limits women's match. Kylie Paige looks like she's trying to be Liv Morgan tonight. The opponent is Natalie Markova. This one should be good. It's interesting that Markova only ever seems to have hardcore matches. I am not complaining as she's good at them, but it is a bit bizarre. We start off with a kendo stick fight. It ends with Markova hitting a right Russian leg sweep, causing the crowd to chant for the Sandman. Jesus, look what happens next. Markova sits on her face to make the pin, and Kylie bites her somewhere. Kylie Paige hits a code break on the ring apron, and she smashes Markova out to the floor. The match is interrupted so the Miserable can cut a promo. They all get to talk for a change, but I can't say I particularly want to hear from any of them ever again. Back to the women's match, and Kylie Paige is setting weapons up around ringside. Billy Corgan worries on commentary that someone will get hurt. Check this suplex out, talk about hurt. I swear one of Markova's boobs popped on that chair. Every month this chick is involved in some hardcore craziness. I'd love to know what the NWA pay her. Whatever it is, it's not enough. Now, I spoke about a lack of red liquid earlier, and here it actually is in a women's match. In the ring now, both girls have a keyboard. This is just done so the commentary team can make bad jokes about keyboard warriors. An outdated reference. The girls go face to face. Markova decks Kylie with a huge clothesline. She tries a powerbomb, but instead she's hit with a kendo stick to the slash zone. Kylie hits a scary looking fisherman suplex into her knee, and then she hits a chair dive in the corner. She isn't done and suplexes Markova onto a chair in the corner. Not sure how it's not the 3. Markova finally lands a knee from the apron. She climbs to the top and drop kicks a chair into Kylie's face. She's about to get the 3 when Hunter Drake breaks up the pin. Not this dweeb again. Markova grabs him and hits a double arm DDT through the table. She celebrates, but not for long, and Kylie drop kicks slides her from behind. But in the ring she misses a chair shot and Markova spin kicks it back into her face for the 3. Wow, 2 good matches on this show. The women never fail to impress on power. I'm in a better mood now. Let's check out the 3rd and final show. It starts out with a women's group called TVMA, which stands for TV's Most Attractive, Debatable. They have nothing interesting to say except bueno. Oh no, not more Islanders. I thought I was watching WWE for a second. Well, these chicks aren't actually Samoan, they're Tongan. How wacky, I had no idea what they were saying though. Okay, so this will be for the women's tag titles. I like the outfits for TVMA. Very flashy, although I guess it's not a fashion contest, it's a wrestling contest. Apparently, these 2 Tongan twins were the WoW Women's Champions. They hit a sloppy looking double hip toss to get us started. Nieves gets a slam and the girls have to have a regroup on the outside. Valentina Rossi tries to fake an injury so Nieves can sneak attack, which fails and she's hit with a backpack stunner. She no-sells that and she's tagged in after a basement clothesline. Nieves hits a facebuster and a sort of famouser for her too. The heels are all over the Island girls now. Maybe these 2 can be an online sensation, like the boys. There's an outdated reference for you. Now we've got a dilemma. A Samoan drop. Is this okay? I don't really know how to feel. I think it fits their gimmick, so it's okay. The Hawk's head is scrambled from all this nonsense. Tags are made. The new Island girl hits a super kick and a Uranagi. The match breaks down. Nieves tries a crossbody and she gets caught. She fights off a Samoan drop and hits an eat defeat for the 3. Here comes another bizarre NWA pre-tape segment. Big Strong Mims walks around in an empty bar for ages. He's surprised to finally find Silage Mason. Apparently his family owned this bar, so why is he surprised to see him? Mims says his belt is a cheap piece of crap from Walmart whilst he has a real wrestling belt. Thrillbilly eventually challenges him to a match for the belt. The Slime Balls will be having their tournament match next. They're facing Odinson and Kratos. It looks like they're wearing bondage gear. Odinson happily sprays face paint into his eyes. For the 3rd time in this video, there's noise from the crowd as they chant for the Slime Balls. Oddinson isn't impressed by the smaller slime ball. He blows snot into his hand and gives him a beautiful smile. These kids are a laugh a minute. He demands to face the fat man. Kratos comes in and Slimeball slaps him. Kratos slaps and pounces him down. The match then slows to a snail's pace as Kratos delivers slaps in the corner. Wow, the crowd are actually awake for this one. Froth pours out of the Slimeball's mouth. Once again, the match is interrupted to cut to an interview. Carson Drake begs Tennessee P for a rematch to get his belt back. Back to the match, and not a lot has happened. The bigger Slimeball finally gets the tag, but he runs straight into a scoop slam and a standing frog splash. Here comes Oddinson. He power slams the big Slimeball. This match is just a prolonged beating. Suddenly, Oddinson misses an attack in the corner and he starts throwing his smaller friend at Oddinson. The cannonball gets a 2 count. The Slimeball's lucky flurry of offense doesn't last much longer as Oddinson hits the pounce whilst also knocking the smaller one off the top rope. Kratos hits a jumping knee and they kill him off with immortality. These guys, Oddinson and Kratos, they have some nice moves, but to be honest, they're boring. And if they're supposed to be doing a Spartan gimmick, why is he, Kratos, morbidly obese? Spartans were supposed to be in elite, great shape. These guys have been teaming for years, nobody cares. They should have gone with a storyline of the Slimeballs fluking their way to the finals before losing. Billy Corgan is tone deaf to anyone that the fans like. This tournament doesn't seem to be telling a story either, so it sucks. Now the Paige family are in the Silage Mason bar. Kenzie lectures them all for looking like jobbers. Tyler Frank sounds incredibly nervous as he tries to sound threatening.
Nobody talks to me that way. You know, like, I know Joe said, you know who I am? Yeah. But does he not know who I am?
Kenzie starts calling Drake a liar. Not sure what he lied about. This girl seems like hard work to deal with. For once, they actually explain it a little bit. Something about he fancies her sister. A nervous tension comes over the table. The door asks if anyone wants drinks. See, NWA, you had a chance about a month ago. You could have had Kylie and Kenzie face off in a match. You were doing that tournament and it would have made sense to have them fight. And then you can insert this loser who they apparently both fancy and it would have been making for good telly. But no, nothing makes sense. The Southern Six are out now. They won the Cup last year. Morton says this crowd are electric and he kisses their asses for a bit. Mason calls it Philadelphia. He heals on the crowd when his partners were nice to them. Anyway, they're going to take on the Exodus Pro team of EC3 and Pretty Boy Smooth. EC gets jumped during his entrance. It looks like something out of Control Your Narrative. They team up on him for a bit before he smacks them down. Pretty Boy has the tag and he throws Morton around the ring for a bit. As usual, EC3 loses the advantage for his team. The Southern Six hit EC3 with a double team slingshot suplex. Then, they interrupt the match again so that Wrecking Ball Luxurski can hype next week's match against Jay Bradley. Two guys who started their feud so long ago, I can't even remember it. Side note, these guys look like they stink really badly. Back at the match and the Southern Six do a drop toe hold elbow drop to EC3. For some reason they spend the match talking about what an excellent body shape Kerry Morton is in. I assume this was sarcasm, but it didn't sound like it. The double teaming continues. EC3 eventually fights off a double superplex and he dives with a crossbody. Here comes The Shed, Pretty Boy Smooth. Smooth destroys them with power moves. The front slam leg drop doesn't get the JOB done. Morton hits a short DDT to calm him down. Pasta CeeLo causes a distraction on the outside, allowing Smooth to box Alex Taylor. The tag is made and EC3 hits the 1%er to end the match. Kind of a nothing match. How are you guys feeling about Pretty Boy Smooth so far? He's obviously a guy that EC3 has chosen and he's trying to get him over. In my opinion, he really needs to bring a bit more energy. Just try to create some excitement. He's just kind of there. Anyway, that's that. The middle episode was the best, but the show sucks overall. I'd rather do a front flip into a pool of pythons than watch this ever again. And if you don't agree with that, I'll hatch you like a hen.